Welcome back to ARMEDFORAGER. Today we're going to do some dispersed camping. So I'm going to give you a rundown of kind of what to expect if you've ever in your life thought to yourself, hey, I'm an outdoorsman type, maybe you have family members who go hunting and fishing and do all that, and you thought to yourself, well, I'm really into prepping and survival and all this really cool stuff, but I don't know where, especially in the winter, because campsites are completely closed down in the winter. Depends on where you are, but most of them are. So like, where do I go to get out in the wilderness without having to know somebody or own property and then be able to do that type of thing? Well, usually my go-to is a national forest. It's land that usually doesn't require a fee or a permit. I spoke with the local supervisor and they said, yeah, national forest, if you're gonna go out and like primitive type camp in the wilderness, there are a few rules, so always check with yours, but you can go do that, and there's a few stipulations. But around here, you can take the dead, fallen trees, and you can use them for shelter. The leave no trace principle for sure. You can build your own little shelter and then go ahead and put them back where you found them type of thing, so that it looks like nobody was there. And then you can, process those and use them for fire as well. So kind of cool. My go-to is National Forest. Right now, I'm on BLM land, so Bureau of Land Management, and everything is shut down. Everything usually requires a fee of some sort to camp. But I did talk with the local officials, and they said, yeah, basically, just off of any established campsite on BLM land is fine in this particular area. So that's what we're going to do. The idea was, if you've been watching previous videos and been following this, is that it was going to be me and a buddy in the mountains. That took a turn. Buddy fell ill. It's going around. There's some nasty stuff out there. But I'm in good health. As you can tell, well, maybe you can't tell, but we're not in the mountains. The mountains right now, lots of snow. So that's what, where I was going with that. It's cold. It was much colder up there, but it's still cold. So it's about 33, 34 right now, and it's about midday. I tried to get out here a little bit earlier in the day so I could establish camp. Really, I just got this 60-liter backpack and this haversack from Helicon Techs. So Helicon Techs really hooked it up this time around. I did not bring any gloves because I feel like I'll be working with my hands a lot, and we're going to be doing a little bit of hiking and trekking. So here's what you can expect. We'll check out some neat and really cool products, and I'll let you guys know some of the finer points and some of the struggles, as you'll see, we'll encounter. I passed a couple of water sources, so I know I'm going to be able to get water today. I did buy one of those Life Straw type filters to where you can basically just pop it in and like drink directly from the stream. So water isn't going to be a problem at all. As far as wildlife, it's oddly, I can hear almost nothing. There's just some birds now, which is kind of comforting. They probably see a lumbering person walking through the woods, and so they're most likely signaling to each other, hey, chirp chirp. There's something that causes probably minimal threat to us at this point, but that you should be alerted to it. Birds are interesting creatures, and they can tell you a lot about your environment. Most birds have a warning call, and it's a very sharp and sudden call so that they don't draw attention to themselves, but so they can alert other birds of the same species. Because they don't want to alert, like other birds to come and get them, right? That would kind of defeat the point. Okay, I found a hiking trail. I'm going to head out this way, and maybe we can find a nice little spot. As far as bigger animals, and with hard cast ammo and the new, propellants, 9mm just fine for where I'm at. 10 mil is the better option, of course, But at the same time, we don't have grizzlies where I'm at. We don't necessarily even have brown bear where I'm at. It would be an anomaly to see a brown bear here. Black bear, definitely, but it is the winter. You know, if black bear are out right now, they're definitely going to be hungry. Well, that's going to be a rarity. And then you're thinking about cougar. So cougar that's definitely a reality where we are right now, and not necessarily rare either. There's been many cases and sightings in the same area where I am right now. And a hard cast 9mm, yeah, that's definitely going to do the job, especially with 18 rounds and a backup mag. And if you've been watching this channel, you know I don't play around with that. So yeah, we're on a good path, I believe, with water, gear, supplies, and protection. I'm gonna head off this trail here, and all of this area back in here, all the way back, is flatter, which is really difficult to find. Usually things just go up and up and up and up and scale, and then on the other side of the trail it usually goes down and down and down into water sources. So we're gonna head out this way and see what we can do. It gets thick out here. I don't know if y'all watched Alone. I think it was one of the first seasons. They were walking through, just trudging through all of these salal bushes, and there's a ton of that here as well. Just untamed territory. Okay, I think I found pretty good clearing over here. Like I said, it just goes up from here. So here we go. We're gonna try to figure this out. But that looks like a good spot. And usually, if I'm gonna set up like a camp for the night, I don't know if you can see this. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in the way, but there's a good log there to post up next to. Yeah, let's go over here. I'll show you what I mean. So here's like a log. You know, keep you protected on that side at least. It's a pretty good spot. And then I'm going to put all of the stuff that I have now down, and then I'll come talk to you guys about stuff. Okay, so as you can see, I do have a pretty, hefty type coat. This is all polyester, and it definitely has like a water shedding element to the back, and then like a fleece on the inside. I also have another fleece on, and that's because you can never have too many layers in cold, wet conditions as in this rainforest. You can't have too many layers. You just cannot. When the sun goes down, things are chill now. I've been walking, got the blood going, things are moving and warming up in my body. But when you're not moving, when you've settled in for the night and the temperatures dramatically drop in the woods, before even the sun goes down, the sun is down in the woods. I mean, if you've still got an hour of daylight in the city, in the woods, you do not. So if it usually gets dark in the winter around 5, you better plan for 4 o'clock having everything you need. So layer up, because if something fails, like if you expect to have fire and you've got all the stuff and then it just doesn't happen, you're going to be hurting that night for sure. And like with me, I got dropped off here. Like I have to figure this out. So tonight's going to get cold, and I know that. Right now, I'm feeling good. All right, so I'm going to put this down. I'll show you why I chose this spot. Mainly, for one, I was just tired of walking. That's not the reason. I was tired of walking though. That's heavy. So yeah, I brought the gear. Those definitely two top layers. I've got this Arctic's bib. I've got 1 layer of polyester overshirt and then undershirt. Both are polyester. Like I've said this before, and if you know anything about being in the wilderness in wet, cold conditions, so I'm talking to the people who know about this stuff. People who have not ventured into that and have worn other things just in their daily lives, they're like, ah, yeah, it's fine, no biggie. Well, when you get out and you get wet and you don't have a fire and your clothing does not wick that water away, and now you're damp or soaking wet and freezing cold, you're just going to most likely develop a severe case of shaking convulsively at night, and just, I mean, it's all bad. It is all bad, and I mean to the extreme. So, I don't tend to wear a lot of cotton or things that retain water. I wear a lot of things that will wick water away from me. Because remember, we're talking survival here. We're talking, being out in an area that is unforgiving and that just does not care about you. And so you have to figure things out. So yeah, there's a couple of layers there. I do have pants. They're Helicon Techs. So there again, I mentioned Helicon Techs. Honestly, they're some of the best when it comes to clothing and bushcraft gear. They've got like a whole list of things on their website for, different areas of interest. So they've got like a bushcraft section, they've got clothing, and all of their stuff is like, kind of that gray man tactical gear where it's like, okay, this dude obviously is, a hard target, but it's also a very professional stance on things. So like what I'm saying is like you could wear the clothes that they give you in the woods and then like be in office with the same exact clothing on. So, very professional, but also very professional in this environment as well. So I got Helicon Techs pants on. I have wool socks. I always recommend, at least merino wool. Fleece and, under layers of polyester type clothing. And then I just got these rugged Harley Davidson leather boots. I'm always rocking those. They haven't failed me yet. And, I don't like trekking through the wilderness with stuff that is just either going to get poked through or fall apart. It's leather, so, nothing's going to poke through and jab me up and, make things more difficult for me with these. So the key is layering up. So I've already got all of that stuff on my person. And then what's in the haversack? Haversack hanging over here. So that's Helicon Techs as well. Amazing company. That's good stuff. I got food in there. I got MREs. And if you saw a previous video, you'll know exactly what I brought. So we'll venture into that in just a sec, because I'm starting to get hungry. And then when we clear out this area, I'll unload the contents of the backpack, and you'll see exactly what I brought. I brought way more than I ever do, and way more than I could necessarily use in this environment in these conditions. And at the same time, I want to show you guys some new gear. So I brought a ton of stuff, and it's all packed into a small backpack. It's heavy, but it's much smaller than the backpack that I usually carry. All right, real quick. So you see those two trees there? I chose this spot because those two trees are close to each other, close enough for a hammock. So I got a bivvy that turns into a hammock that I want to show you guys. And then there's a nice flat area right here as soon as I take out this big branch. So that's what we're going to do. Another thing when choosing camp, look up. So you want to, especially in like coniferous forests, which this is, there's conifers all over the place. All of these trees are conifers. All of them. And you can tell by their kind of spoke branches, like they just got branches coming out all around the tree, all the way up. And the needles. So they bear needles instead of deciduous leaves. But you want to look up, because those branches are very heavy and they self-prune. They shed the branches when they're packed tightly like this together, because that's just wasted energy. So they're like, we don't need these. We're going to shed these branches. And so some of those can come down on your head. So always look up and make sure you're not posting up under like a dead standing or a tree that you can see it doesn't have any needles on and there's just a bunch of bare branches, or in this case, there can be like moss and lichens and stuff like that on it. That's kind of a good indicator. So don't go under those trees and try to set up shop there. So this looks like a good spot. First order of business usually for me is gathering firewood. I can set up camp in the middle of the night while it's raining. I can. You know, maybe at very least an overhang tarp so that I don't have to set up camp in the wet if it is pouring down rain. It's not. But first order of business, I always collect firewood first because I don't want to go out in the woods away from camp in the pitch black trying to gather firewood and bring it in and then saw it all up and do all that. It's just too much. And so, you know, that's what we do. We go out, we grab the wood, and in this case, in BLM land, I was told, hey, look, and even in national forest, as long as it's down and dead, you can process that wood. So that's what we do. We grab that stuff, we bring it in, and we make sure we've got enough fire for the night, or firewood at least. If you can't get a fire started, that's very disappointing. That can be very disappointing. But you learn really quickly. When you come out here often enough, you will learn very quickly that and how to start a fire, or you know, you stop coming out. So it's really that big a deal. If you can't keep warm at night, it's just suffering. It's just suffering the whole night. Praying for the morning is really what you do the entire night, and it seems like the night just lasts forever. That's another thing. It's not guaranteed. It is not guaranteed. I don't care how awesome you are at getting fire started. In certain conditions, it just won't happen. So you always have to prepare for that. Always. Okay, so number one, firewood. And having some fire starter of some sort. Or a fire kit, which we'll get into. Always be prepared. I know I'm jumping around from subjects, but I just, you know, if you're out here like I am, I mean, everybody's watching this from the comfort of their own homes at this point. But if you're in the wilderness, everything's shut down. Nobody's going to save you if you're out here by yourself. So be prepared. Don't go out in the wilderness by yourself and try to do a solo mission without. And really, that's what it is. It's more of a mission and you'll find this out if you've never done it before. You'll learn more about yourself than you ever thought you would. You will be by yourself, and you will have to rely on yourself and your skills and your gear, whatever you brought with you. And at night, you'll have more time to think about just the most craziest stuff that you've ever dreamt up. I got some stories that will blow your hair back. In the woods, when you're by yourself and there is nobody around for miles and you don't have cell service, you will get in your mind. So yeah, be prepared. Bring some form of protection too. Don't be dumb. Okay, so once you've procured your fire, the next thing I would say is shelter. Because what's the real objective? Are you trying to survive the night, or are you out here long term? Because a human being can survive a night, 2 nights without water. Can a human being survive hypothermia for more than a couple of nights? It's going to be hardcore trying to do that. Like I said, I passed a ton of water sources. There's no concern for me at all whatsoever as far as getting water. If I didn't even see those water sources, this ground is damp enough to where I could extract water from this. Now, there's a few ways to do that. There's tons of this stuff. So anybody who was wondering, oh yeah, he's going to just like dig up the dirt and get some water that way. There's the entire ground for miles is covered with this stuff. And this stuff, look, you hear that? It's moisture. So I'm telling you, I don't have to worry about water. Now, if that wasn't the case, if I was in the desert, it would be different. It would look much different. I'm going to bounce back to safety again. So we were talking about the trees and the environment and staying protected and stuff like that. If you're out in the wilderness, look around. Just be aware of your environment. There's been too many stories of people who were attacked from behind by cougars and things like that because they're just not looking around, I guess. The one story, the guy got attacked by a bear the bear came out of nowhere. You didn't even know the bear was next to him. It started mauling him up, and I guess he had a gun, but the gun malfunctioned in some way. And I think he got a round off and then woke up and his jaw was all like half jaw and all of that. It was terrible, terrible, terrible thing to happen to an individual, to a human being. So, you know, watch your environment, and especially with cougars, they try to take the high ground, and so that's behind me. But be situationally aware. Like, no, if you don't know your environment, start to become aware of your environment. And I don't know if you can hear the birds, but the birds are a good indicator of something being present. And with those sharp, quick, high-pitch tweets, that could be an indicator of something being present or a threat to the bird population. And it's probably me because I'm making a lot of noise. So, you know, if you are more quiet in the wilderness and you pay attention to what is going on and around you, it most likely won't be you that is the threat to the birds, and then you can use them as a signaling device. So, you know, if it is a true survival situation, this would look a lot different. So we are doing this as somebody who comes into the woods and is prepared beforehand. So this is not a starter guide to just imminent survival where, you know, things are increasingly getting worse and then you just have to come out. But, I mean, with that said, I am less prepared time-wise than I wanted to be. And so this is sort of a more imminent type situation. So things need to start rolling. Because 11:30, like I said, if the sun goes down at 5, which it does, then really I only have till 4. And so that's like 4.5 hours to gather all the firewood, to set up a couple of shelters and talk about them, and then to talk about all the gear that I brought. Okay, so fire, shelter. And when I say shelter, so the one end of things is that I will have two kind of shelters that really aren't very protective, I guess. You know, the one's going to be a tarp, the other one's going to be like a hammock. So in a hammock, you're just kind of low-hanging fruit for, you know, animals who want you. At least when you get in your head at night, that's what you're going to be thinking. Or in a bivvy, it's like everything is just closed securely, completely around you, with just a very thin wall. And so, like, definitely, if something's got long claws, I mean, they're going to be able to open that up and you at the same time. Or at least that's what you're going to be thinking in your head when it comes to, you know, pitch black, alone by yourself in the wilderness. And if it's raining, every drop sounds like a footstep. So you really get in your head. So with shelter, you know, utilize what you have, downed logs and things like that. Like I said, with a log here, you can use certain things as an already established secure area. So that's really what you're looking for. If there's two big logs lying next to each other that are like, you know, this thick or whatever, put logs over the top of it and then put a tarp over that. That will secure you for the night, especially if you have like a firearm or something to protect yourself. If there are thick logs over the top, a bear is not going to be able to bust through, you know, like 12 inches or whatever of logs in a hurry. I mean, they can move them out of the way and stuff like that, but by that time you've got a light on them and you're taking aim. In a little tent or whatever, you're basically trapped in there unless you can just rip that thing open, shine the light, and try to find the source before the animal gets you. So that's what I'm looking at with shelter. So what does shelter do for you? It protects you against the elements, and it protects you against whatever is in the elements with you. That is shelter. So think of it that way. And I noticed a couple of logs over here, which I got to show you this now. So there are some things you look for and look out for when there's a couple of logs. So right here, you know, a log here and a log there on each side, and then one at the feet or head or whatever, and then one here. It's just a big stump So hypothetically, you could dig that out and, you know, I don't know, what I would do is put a tarp underneath, because that's just going to be all waterlogged, because I am in a rainforest. If it's raining, that's not going to be a great idea, because that's all going to flood out. Even if no rain directly gets inside of the hole, like if it's on the outside or whatever, it fills up. And if you've experienced that, you never want to do that again. Good protection if it's not raining, and if you know it's not going to rain for the next couple of nights or whatever, or hadn't been raining the last couple. But really, really good protection. So you can just throw logs over the top of that, put a tarp over the top. You know, if you're in a genuine survival situation, you know, you're just going to survive the night. Really, if you're posted up next to a fire and can feed the fire for the night, that can be all you need. So fire first and then shelter. Now, other individuals will have their order of operations, but I've given you, I feel, some pretty good reasons why those two are big. If you're planning on surviving the night, why not, you know, at least psychologically feel a little bit more comfortable? And then I would say the other two elements, you know, depends on what you're doing. So if you're trying to get out, if you're lost or something like that, navigation is going to be the best thing. I'm going to walk all night. If I've got, you know, a good capability to kind of know where I am and where I'm going, I'll walk all night. I don't care. I've done that in the past, like in Michigan in the snow, and just knew where I was going. And I walked like 6-7 hours, and I finally got home. So, I mean, if that's the idea, then that's different. Then it's like you're going to forego all the other stuff, and you're just going to get out of there. But if the idea is to stay put, then yeah, okay. So fire, shelter, then water, and then of course food. So if you've got those four, you've kind of got your hierarchy of needs. So kind of the base level stuff. Because you got to eat and drink water. You've got to sleep. And if you die of an animal attack or hypothermia, then that's it. So really those four elements. And then you can get into those as deep as you want to. So if the first thing is fire, figure out how to do that. You know, bring the gear that'll do that. So saw, maybe an axe, definitely a full tang blade, and a fire kit. And then learn how to construct a fire, and then progressively make it harder for yourself. Because if that's the first element, then, you know, that's important. So maybe even progressively take away some of the gear until you can do it just by coming out in the wilderness by yourself, rubbing two sticks together, and just, you know, being a fire master. So maybe in good conditions too, you know, like forego the gear, and you're like, yes, in perfect conditions, I can do that without any gear. And then go out in worse and worse conditions until you can come out with no gear in pouring down rain and snow. Then you're the ultra master of fire starting. So there's one element down, and it's like, okay, cool. I am the fire master. And then shelter, the same thing. So this is going to be a little bit easier with the shelter. Fire is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. If you've ever tried to build a fire, even with all the right gear and in good conditions, it can be tough. It can be. If the wood is bone dry and you're using a lighter, and you have kindling that progressively gets bigger and those things, then it's a little bit easier. But you got to know what you're doing. If you throw wet leaves on a fire that's, you know, just starting, you're going to put it out. And so there's just little things to know about it. Shelter as well. Like if you come out here and you do have the saw and you've got the axe and you've got the full tang blade and you're, you know, batoning all of the, you know, branches that come off of it, and you're building yourself an A-frame, and you've got the rope and the nails and everything. That's a lot different than coming out here with no gear, no tarp, no nails, no saw, no axe. And when the rain's coming down, and it's like, I need to get out of the rain right now. So yeah, bring all your gear, research it, come up with that. It's it's a lot easier than fire starting, which fire starting can be a just masterclass practice. And there are some key ways to start a fire too, so that's cool to figure that out. But with shelter, I mean, if you're not just like trying to, meld or connect two big logs together and make like an A-frame structure with like, bringing out the clay and the stones and making this elaborate like stove and fireplace and all that, it doesn't have to be all that. It really doesn't. Like I said, you could throw logs across already two down logs, and then, if there is some kind of watershed element to the top of it, and then putting boughs on there, that can act as like a watershed, like dispersing the water away from your body, so that in the rain you can come out here without any gear and still be protected from the elements, at least from the rain for the night. It may or may not save your life, but at least you're not in the pouring rain. And that's kind of why it's secondary, because you can warm up next to the fire. And I see a ton of down logs. I'm just saying, like, there's some right there. There's a down log right there, really long. I could cut that into 6-foot sections, 4-foot sections. And because I did bring a saw, always bring your Silky saw. That's the one I would recommend, the Silky brand saws. And then, water and food. So researching different ways to get water. Like I said, there are streams and water sources that I've walked by, and a lot of it is coming from the top down, like runoff and that type of stuff. But in BLM land, national forest areas, a lot of this is protected. So a lot of the water sources are, I would say, a lot of the water sources don't have a lot of chemical, like, runoff, I guess, And so that's another thing. If you have the gear, you can scoop that up. And if you know the water source, like I said, some of this moss is antibacterial, like really in a lot of ways anti-parasitic. Or the dew of the earth, if you like to wait, or there's ways for trans-evaporation from the trees, like from the needles and the leaves and things like that. There are literally hundreds of ways to get water from the earth, and especially in a rainforest. It's just all around you all the time. There's ways to dig, like I was talking about earlier with the earth. I mean, you could literally dig down and get water sources that way too. But I could go along collecting some of this foliage from the ground here and squeeze it out and get a decent amount of water. Or bring your pot and, if there's a water source around, scoop that up, boil your water for like at least 10 minutes for a rolling boil. I don't like to risk it. And like I said, for survival purposes and for fun, I mean, you don't need to, what I'm talking about isn't like scooping water up and drinking it out of the stream. I'm talking about certain water sources, like I said, are antibacterial, antifungal, antiparasitic, and antiseptic. So if you want to risk that, you can. But yeah, if you got the gear, start there, and then gradually take away the gear, and then gradually do it in a way where there's less readily available water, and just make things harder on yourself until like you're the master of procuring water. And then food. I just can't say enough about that. This channel has that name, so Armed Forager. So, we're always strapped with the gap, and we're always out in the wilderness finding food to eat. So right now, I will never go hungry. There is just an embarrassment of riches as far as food source is concerned. There is food all around me. Full of vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates. And if you know how to get the food, you're going to last a little bit longer. And again, if you are good with like primitive type weapons, there's some really cool ways to, craft weapons that can take out like bunny or squirrels or, even bigger game. So it really depends on what we're talking about, you know. I mean, if you're out and things just get a little rough, you know, like if you're hunting, if you're on like a, I don't know, like a couple week hunt or a week hunt or a 5-day hunt or a 4-day hunt or whatever, and things start turning sideways and it's like, oh, I don't have any water anymore, then it would be helpful to know or be the master at water procurement. Or if, you know, it's the apocalypse and, you know, all of your prepper knowledge is now coming into use and, you know, you've already got a base camp, shelter, fire, and water, but now you're hungry. Crafting weapons and being able to, you know, stalk animals and trap and all of that is a very, very useful skill. Yeah, and when people hear foraging, they're like, yeah, the guys out there, like, you know, eating lettuce. I'm telling you, there's like an entire 2 chapters out of 14 in the U.S. Military Guide to Survival on foraging plants. And I'm talking plants, not mushrooms, just purely plants. And so it's important, and it's important for survival. And so, you know, I would say that's where you start, kind of, you know. If you're looking for food, it's going to be tough to like bag a moose or like you know, chase a rabbit or something like that if you don't know how to do it. Or even if you do, it's if there's no animals present and you know, you've been just surviving the last couple of days without food. Yeah, that's a hard way to be, you know, where you could have eaten like 10 salads, but you know, the whole time. So. And good salad too. Salads that, you know, make you stronger and provide, you know, vitamins and minerals and energy and strength. And, you know, if you come down with a sore throat or something, full of vitamin C and just, you know, yeah. So there you go. Fire, shelter, water, food. I could talk about this stuff all day, but, here we go. Let's set up shop. So a couple of things. The one thing is this Free Soldier tarp. Free Soldier, check it out. This is really compact compared to tarps that you would get from like, I don't know, like Walmart or Bi-Mart or whatever mart you go to. This one is really, really compact and it comes with that bag. And the bag's kind of nice. It looks like, I mean, it's got the clip and then you can roll it over on itself. We'll take this one out. It's really kind of a Gucci tarp. It's one of those tarps that are, I mean, it feels, it's like ripstop, you know, very, very durable. Comes with a few things, some paracord and some tent pegs. And it's got the metal grommets or the metal holes. So it's nice and secure. And then this webbing material as well. It's actually very big. I'll put the dimensions right here. But I'm going to use this for now to lay out the gear, and then this will be our secondary shelter that I was talking about. All right. So here's the Free Soldier tent pegs and paracord. Here's the bag. What else did I bring? So this is actually a blow-up mattress. This is from Flextail, and if you've been following the channel, I just did a video with this from BattleBox. So BattleBox hooked it up. We got the Survivor cord. This stuff is pretty cool. It's got a few things in it. It's got like fishing line, fire starter. It's got a metal, I think it's copper. There's like a copper cord in there for like trapping. It's got a lot of cool things in there. Really kind of standard 550 paracord as far as strength is concerned, but then it's got all these goodies on the inside, so that's cool. And then I got another one like it. This is called Parapocalypse Survivor Cord, and I got this from Atwood. So Atwood Rope Manufacturers. And there's all the goodies right there. You can see it a little bit better on this one. So there's the fishing line, there's the cord, here's the fire starting element to it. You just shave that back a little bit, and this stuff is really, really cool. And if you use it right, it's invaluable, because for, you know, somebody who's backpacking, you want to be as light as possible, and you want everything to be multifunctional. But I would recommend Atwood over all other manufacturers. They got cord you've never even dreamed of before. Like, seriously. They've got paracord with just intense pounded strength. They've got cord that's multicolored, different colors. They've got rope and, I mean, all kinds of stuff. And they're reasonably priced, and they're a really decent company. So really good guys that work there. So go check them out. I do have a link in the description. You can get a percentage off of all of the stuff that I'm talking about. Helicon Techs, Atwood. So check out the description. Next thing I brought is from Helicon Techs as well. So this is a poncho. This right here is a poncho. Like I said, it's from Helicon Techs. This poncho looks really cool just as a poncho. You can wrap it up. It's got these clips. And now you've got a, man, this is warm. It's really nice. It sheds or deflects water. It's not like waterproof or anything like that, but it'll deflect the water. Just putting it on, I've become much warmer. It seems really thin and it's very packable, but it gets you really warm. It feels like I'm wearing a blanket. And honestly, if this is all I had, just this tarp and this poncho, sure, I would get cold for the night, and you know, things would be tough, but it wouldn't be grim. Thankfully, that doesn't have to be a reality. I got all kinds of gear, but I would trust it. So it doubles as all kinds of things. Doubles and triples. This could be a ground mat. You could wrap up that way. It's got a zipper on it, so this could triple as a sleeping bag. Let me do that real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And you don't have to worry about the zipper moving around and stuff like that on you. It does have a double zip. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of that emergency sleeping bag. But it goes all the way down. So really nice. This could be also a liner, because I have like a negative, I don't know, 12-degree sleeping bag, and this would be a great liner for that too. Or when it's not freezing cold, this could be maybe one of the only things you bring in a tarp. And I've done that before. I've had like a light wool blanket and a tarp, and that was it. And I just rolled myself over like a burrito. Or, you know, maybe wool blanket, something cheap and light like this, nice wool blanket, and then you know, that could be the liner for this. And now you're not having to try to keep that on you at night and like, you know. I'll tell you what, when it's cold and all you got is a small wool blanket like that, and you try to wrap yourself up in it, you're pressing it against the wool, and so it's not trapping that warm air. This has kind of a fluff element to it, and so it will trap that warm air. But whenever you press against something like that, you know, the warm air is going to escape because it's just a thin line. If you pack this inside of here and then do it that way, you know, your feet aren't going to escape. You're not going to struggle to try to keep it around you when you turn and stuff like that. That just really is a hard time. So there's that. And then, you know, it says you can use this as like a tarp as well. So if you need to in a pinch and, you know, it's just coming down and this is all you have is your poncho, you could use this as a tarp too. This is one of the most invaluable pieces of kit that I own at this point. This and that haversack from Helicon Techs. Man, they're just such a, I mean, it was cool. They sent me this out, and I reached out to them and I was like, hey, would you guys mind sending me something out? I'll do a review on it. And they're like, sure, no problem. Really excited for this one. All right, since we're already going that way with it, here's the haversack. So definitely like ripstop material. This is really tough. Opens really, really nice. It's got a nice front pocket. It's got these MOLLE kind of ribbons here, like that webbing, so you can attach things to it. It's kind of softer inside. Really, really nice. They got like a brown one as well. I opted for the gray. I didn't bring anything to boil water, but I did bring this, and I wanted to do a review on this because I've used Life Straws in the past, like the brand name Life Straws. I've also used knockoff Life Straws. And then this one's by the American Red Cross, and all of the elements as far as like bacteria, parasites, all of that, 99.9999999%. Same elements with the branded Life Straw. So this one had a cap, and you know, we'll check this out. You can really fit a lot in here though. A bag to take all the stuff out, all the trash and stuff like that with me. MRE, meal ready to eat, and I will. And then here's my personalized MRE. If you saw the last videos, you know that I usually open up like 2 to 3 of these and then put in the actual contents that I want for taking out into the wilderness. So that's how I get down with the MREs. I also have this full tang mountain bonded knife that I got from that BattleBox. Really, really good knife. Okay, so here's all the things about this haversack. It's made of 500D Cordura. It's got that drag handle, wide shoulder strap, Wu Jin buckles, compatible with MOLLE. Tunnel on sides, flat zippered pocket on back, internal zippered pocket. It's got that D-ring for dummy cording. Internal pockets lined with velour, compatible with VIS. And it's designed in cooperation with Survival Tech. Cool. Here's the other cool thing. They sent me this, and it's a carbine sling. I don't even think I asked for this, and they're just like, cool, here, I'm going to send this to you. I don't know if these normally come with it, but yeah, they hooked it up. This is a 2-point sling. So I could attach that to this. This comes with an already, shoulder strap with buckles, and you can detach those buckles, which is really, really nice. Oh, this one's nice. You can put on like a patch here. I will be using this in a future video with my actual carbine firearm, so we'll check that out. And just also a big thank you to Helicon Techs. Thanks for the collaboration. All right, here's that ground tent or bivvy from Rivenlow, and it doubles as a hammock. I think it's just supposed to be a hammock. It's got that mosquito liner and all of that, and then it comes with a tarp that goes over the top, or a fly, or whatever you want to call it. But it's really just a bivvy that also doubles as a hammock. But it's pretty nice, and it really, I mean, this looks big, but it compacts way, way smaller than this. It's just got an oversized bag. So there's one shelter. This is a 0 degree mummy bag, and this is from Teton. This is just an ultra thin mat, foam mat, but it does wonders, and yeah, it does keep you warmer, significantly warmer, like 10-20 degrees warmer than what the ground is. So if the ground is like 30 degrees, this is gonna bring you up to like 40-50 degrees without a sleeping bag. And so if you're at 50 degrees and then you have a 0 degree sleeping bag, you're going to be at like 60-70 degrees ambient temperature. So that's nice. And it packs away and it's real easy. I have that Grand's Forest Brook small woods axe, I think is what this is called. And then I got the Silky Saw, the big boy. These are not any wonderful, spectacular straps or anything. These are just a couple of Dickies belts, and they had the holes all the way down, so I used them as straps to secure this wool blanket to my backpack. The only thing that's left is this last thing here, and I really like this, by the way. I can easily blend in. I think this was the jungle one. But it's really or the woods one, which is perfect for the Pacific Northwest because, I mean, if kind of blending in really well, like really well. It's got the browns and the greens. Yeah, Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about was this backpack. So this is a CV Life backpack. Again, it's a 60 liter. I thought this one was special for a couple of reasons, and I'll show you what. I mean, it's kind of heavy, so that's kind of the only downfall, I guess. But I don't mind rucking out and just, you know, packing up and getting out here. If I was to go on like a multi-day hike or something like that, I would want something much lighter. This is perfect though, super rugged for what I'm doing. It's got many different pockets. It's got some great straps, really rugged, really tough and well built. For one, comfortable with these straps. It's got some very foamy, nice straps. It's got two pockets. The one inner part of the backpack is very deep and it encompasses the entire pack. And then there's a front part here and it's got mesh, and this one's deep. It doesn't go all the way down though, like the other part of this in the back. But it's got different ways to secure and clip, and there's MOLLE all over this entire thing. It's got both a waist and a chest clip. But here's where I wanted to go with it. This is kind of the special part. So you can detach these side areas here, a little portable bag. You can put this on your belt even, but it's, yeah, MOLLE compatible. And then it's got some webbing right there on the front too, so you could even put some stuff on that one. So here's that. You can do that with this other one on the side, and then the one in the front also detaches, and it's got a handle. And then this one also has really deep pockets. It's got pockets in the front. It's got pocket on the top, and that one fits a lot of, I mean, that one's the majority of the capacity of this. And then it's got two pockets on each side. And then they give you a shoulder strap. So this buckles in. You can secure this right here. And see, it'll buckle in there really quickly. And buckle in there. And now you've got yourself a bag or a haversack. So that's what I mean when I said that it kind of appealed to me. There was some attraction to this. That's pretty cool. I know you can buy things like that separately. You can get like a decent backpack with, you know, the MOLLE compatibility, and then buy like a haversack that has the MOLLE compatibility and stick it onto your backpack or whatever. But this was the entire package, and I think right now you can get it for like 29 bucks on Amazon. And so I'll leave a link, but that's incredibly cheap for what you get. So there you go. And as you saw, all of this stuff, I could fit it in there. So pretty cool. All right, I attached everything back onto the backpack. I just want to show you what else I brought. I brought this super cheap knife. When I was part of an adventure leadership institute at the local university, these are the things that we bought and had our students have as well. It's got a nice little sheath that you can put on your belt or wherever you want to attach it to. It's got a blade that goes all the way through this rubbery handle. And then when you turn the bottom part of the handle, you can unveil and discover a nice ferrocerium rod. It ain't the biggest rod, but whatever, you know. I like to have those kind of just bigger ones where you can just fling off all those sparks and just really be confident in getting your fire started. These little ones, in a pinch, I mean, you've got your knife and you've got your fire starter in one kind of kit. So again, multifunctional stuff. That's what I'm all about. Then I got another knife from the amazing person that did get sick that I was talking about earlier. He got me this. So this is actually a really cool knife. You can really get a hold of this thing. It's a full tang. And then I brought a smaller saw as well. Again, I thought other things were happening this time around, and so again, different circumstances, but I'm super prepared now. I thought maybe it was going to be a different environment and there would be more people, but so that's why I brought that. It's the only reason I brought that up. All right, so I got a couple of carabiners, real nice, high tension or high, weight strength. I did bring this kind of hand saw, where you put your fingers in it and you can saw just for funsies. And then this Atwood ready rope. This is one of the first things that they sent me, in collaboration with them. This thing is really, really cool. It keeps your rope where you want it. There's a cutting element here where you can just, boom, now it's cut. You could do this literally all with one hand if you wanted to. Then you can close that. It clips, so you don't have to worry about cutting yourself on that. And then on the bottom, you can store a lighter in there. And then, close off the rope. So you could sear that or burn that, and then the little threads aren't going to unwind and stuff like that. And it's orange, so this is good signaling. Or marking, it's not marking tape, but marking rope. Really, 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 really cool. And if you run out of paracord, you can wrap this up with other paracord. It's incredible. And that's through Atwood. A couple other things. I brought a waterproof headlamp. That one is fully charged. I brought these Duraflame fire starters. These are cool. I really like these. So like in Europe or the UK, I guess there's other ones that are like this. They're called zip lights. Yeah, I think it's called Zip Light. This one's Duraflame Fire Start. These are really cool though. You can light these in the water. Just soaking wet. And they take a little flame and they'll light right up. And they'll last like 10 minutes. So you'll have a 10-minute flame for each one of these little rectangles. These are the best, in my opinion, best fire starter you can get. And then over here on the side is my fire kit. So I got 3 Altoids cans. I've got the steel for like flint and steel. I've got that char cloth in here already. I've got a gigantic ferrocerium rod. So here's that one. I've been using this one for years. So these will last you. But when it comes to fire, always have more than you think you could ever need. Have lighters with you, all of that stuff. There was one night I was out here, not here, but I was out in the wilderness with a buddy, and we just could not get a fire started. And I'd like to say I'm pretty good at starting fires, but we could not get one going. Everything was soaking wet, and it was raining hard, and everything was frozen over from the days before, and there was snow all over the ground. And so even the dry stuff that we were getting, and it was breaking and it was snapping and it was dry on the inside, was becoming wet because there's just no way you could escape it. So we finally got a fire started. He actually used his coat. It really wasn't a great idea, but it works. He had many layers anyway. I mean, he did end up getting really cold in the morning, but we were warm throughout the night due to his valiant efforts. Yeah, those coats, I mean, some of the stuff they're made out of, that flame will last a long time. And it lasted long enough to where all of the wet stuff dried out. And the rain was just still coming down, but it worked, and it worked for hours. And we had some logs on the fire, but you never know. I mean, even with all this stuff, I might not even be able to get a fire going. I will, but, might not. All right. Well, it's 1 o'clock and I'm in the woods, and the sun looks like it's really at an angle now. I mean, it's going down. Let's see. Here, I'll show you something. All right, so there's the sun right up there. I don't want to burn out my my camera by staring at the sun with it. But if you take your hand in front of you, so like the distance from your hand extended out in front of your face, you can judge this by 15-minute increments from kind of the horizon. So here. It's about 3.5 hours left of daylight, which would make sense because it's 12:41 right now. So about 4:30. And I'm telling you though, when the sun gets down to about like right here, that's, yeah, you're not really going to be able to see a whole lot of daylight at all. It's going to go behind those trees, and there's going to be barely any coming through. So really, I'm looking at about an hour, hour and a half. All right, so let's hang up this hammock real quick. Let's hang our hammock. It comes with this webbing, and then it does have straps that hook up and pinch everything together. And then they provide these carabiners. And this is the rain tarp. All right, so the sun is going down rather quickly. It always catches me by surprise when that happens, even if I plan for it. And today is no different. So we're going to have to scratch the idea of the 2 shelter and figuring that out and like seeing which one is better type of thing, because that's what I had planned on doing. And we'll just, we'll set this up. I'll show you the bivvy style and then we'll hang it up. All right. So yeah, these little poles, they just snake through this part, and then they go right into the grommet. So the idea is that you use this part, the same part that you would attach to the tree, and you stake it out in the ground, and then these come up. That's kind of your bivvy system. I'm going to give kind of the quick and dirty version of this. So we're going to hang this up. There it is as a hammock. Again, if we had more time, I'd stretch this out a little bit more, and it would look a little bit more pretty. I am not worried about pretty right now. This then goes over the top, and then these buckles clip in. And then yeah, the rest of it just clips into place. So this is fantastic. I mean, check that out. And then you can climb right in. And it's looking good. I mean, you know, for a quick and dirty version of the setup, I mean, yeah, I'm going to tighten it up a little bit and then, you know, go from there. But with the 0-degree bag and all of the other elements of everything that I brought, we're looking at like being really, really warm and comfortable. Here, let's go in. I'll show you. Yeah, so when you climb in, this is really what you're looking at. Stable, warm, comfy. I mean, even without blankets, you've got the tarp, and you know, when it gets cold and windy, this definitely the bottom part, when your body is pressed against it, you can get really, really cold. But this is what it looks like. I mean, and especially as a bivvy, you're really kind of trapped in, you know, which is good for sensory deprivation, but it kind of messes with the head, you know, messes with the mind. Okay, so we figured all this out as far as like shelter. I'm not going to get rained on. I'm not hyper protected from any other sources, but definitely from the elements. So shelter, so what's next? We got fire, and then water, and then food. Let's go. All right, I am just a little bit away from camp now because I was looking for some decent firewood, and I got a bunch. And so I'm not going to be starting a fire right now because I still have to go procure water and do all that. And so I don't want to leave camp if a fire is going. So, you know, you gather everything you need, and then when you're ready to settle in for the night, that's when you start your fire. Ideally. With all that said, I'm just going to give kind of a demo. I don't know, kind of what I'm working with. There's hundreds of ways to start a fire, if not thousands. And here's, if you're wondering what this is, it's a headlamp. So it's got the button on the side, dims, flashes, all of that. It's actually really cool. It's got this little cord that comes through. This is a huge battery pack. It lets you know how charged it is and all of that. And so I'll leave a link for that one too. This is one of the best ones. It's waterproof, all of that. I got that around my neck just in case sun goes behind that hill. And so it's right here. It's going quick. So I'll show you this, and then we'll go and get some water. I'll use that cool American Red Cross life straw type thing, water filter. All right, there's kind of a nasty tree. So this one is dead. And one of the ways to tell is if it snaps. So now, not only is it dead, but for the most part, this is going to be pretty dry. And these things are awesome, invaluable in the wilderness for fire. And you can tell it's got some resinous aspects to it. It is dry. All of these little twigs here, those are going to be very, 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 very useful. So really what you want, if you can get a flame going, you want a ton of these. So you want your bird's nest to catch the spark and all of that to get the flame going, but that's not what I'm talking about. These. So you want a ton of these. This is what's going to make or break your fire. And then you want to go up in thickness. And so it's got that element too. And so you want a ton of these. And then you want to go up in thickness from there. And you want to just keep gradually going up. And so if you start from the tip, after you've removed all of these little branches, this could be the perfect element for fire starting. And then you can move on from there. And I think what's legal in my area for BLM and wilderness area is nothing bigger than your wrist. And so I've got a chunky wrist, so I'm, you know, I'm really good there. Check this out though. This goes all the way down, and it's very thick. So my arm is definitely thicker than that. But this entire thing can be processed. It is dead. But here's what I'm going to do as a demo. So I'm going to take some of this one here. This is all bone dry in there. Bone dry. And so this is what you want. Let me show you. All right, so you take your trusty knife and really just start whittling away that outer and all that bark and all that. You want to get all that wet stuff out of there without saturating the inner part. So it's kind of a balance. The alternative thing you could do is split this. So you could split it, open that up, and now you got some kindling. That's not necessarily what I'm looking for. We're looking for something that'll hold the flame for long enough to light some of the other wet, thinner little twigs that we were talking about. So how do we get this started? Well, here's a tiny, tiny little piece. So we'll give that a shot first. Again, I'm going to take away some of this outer wetter stuff so you can see the darker brown on there. I'm just going to get rid of that. Should have brought that bug spray that I got from BattleBox. Unbelievable. There are a bunch of mosquitoes out here. All right, so that's what I got left. This would be great for kindling and whatnot, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of fillet this out a little bit, almost like feather sticks, but you're going to get really thin material like that. If you get a bunch of that and all you have is a ferro rod, you can definitely put a lot of this in a pile, throw some spark on it, and it will catch. Here's the trick. So here's what people probably don't tell you. See how it's flat right here? You want to use the tiny, tiny edge right there. So if it points out like a triangle, you want to take off the triangle tip. And that's how you'll get the tiny, tiny pieces. And you want to alternate the wood and just touch that triangle tip each time. And then you'll get some really, really small paper-like material. And then eventually, you'll get a bunch of little paper-like material alternating back and forth through this bone-dry wood that has some resinous quality to it. And here, let me show you what this does. Like I said, I came super, super prepared, so I got a torch with me. I'm not even going to screw around with it. I'm just showing you a demo. And as soon as you touch the flame to that thing, it'll go up. Look at that. So that's lit. And then you can use that to start your fire. So if you've got a ton of this in a pile, you know, not just this tiny little bit, and then you got other pieces around that you can just kind of put on top of that. Again, you never know what can happen with fire, especially when you're just trying to start it. But this will be a very invaluable trick. So you want that dry, dead standing. And again, this is purely for fire. So I'm not saying take down all these dead standing trees. It's just this little bit. And even if the outer bark is wet, you can process it so that you have a dry piece of wood to do this with. Here, I got kind of premature on that. I'll show you again. So again, back and forth and taking the tips off those triangles. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be super pretty, at least for, you know, these purposes. I'll do a fire starting video and elements of fire and all of that later on. Yeah, that's really what you're looking for. And that's how you would process it. So paper-like material, and then when you hit it with a spark or whatever, I'm just going to toast it. There we go. Then you've got a nice flame that'll hold. I'm not saying make it super small like this. I'm just saying, like, that's how you would process it. And the more resinous wood, the better. The drier the wood, the better. If it bends, it's not necessarily dry. And I can promise you it won't be helpful to you to start a fire. If it snaps, then you may be in business. All right, let's get back to camp, go drop off some stuff, and then grab that water filter. And I want to show you guys something about the elements of those MREs. Let's start from the top. Here's what you get. So, meal ready to eat. This one's the Mexican chicken style stew. So it makes it easy. You can just open the top. I say that and the whole thing just rips apart. Anyway. You're supposed to be able to just rip open the top. It says it's got a peelable seal. Alright, let's have a meal together. So, here is the Mexican style chicken stew. This one right here is banana pumpkin puree. This one, cheese-filled pretzels. That's the snack. I'm always surprised about the snack. Pleasantly surprised. That's kind of what I look for in these. Okay. This one, it gives you, like moist towelettes, gum, and stuff like that. This one comes with matches. That's another surprise that I look for in these. Sometimes it doesn't have those matches. All right, so here's the deal that I was thinking of referring to. This is the flameless heater. This thing will make your food really, really hot, and it'll heat it up for you. So what you do is you open this up. So you just peel it like that, and then whatever you want to warm up, you put on the inside. But for me, it's the Mexican style chicken stew. That'll go in this bag. Okay, and then you need to find a water source. So after you put that in, the main dish or the entree or whatever, then you're supposed to fill to this bottom line, but you can fill in between the bottom and the top line. Right here. Oh, there's a chocolate hazelnut protein drink. Once we find this water, it's going to be awesome. Here's what I wanted to show you, though. Remember how I was talking about water and water sources all around? Here's a bunch of dead stuff, like pine needles and stuff like that, next to this dead log. And this log's going to have stuff living in it and all that, but check this out. So water is dripping out of this just from one handful. And one squeeze, I got that much water. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill up that heat element with this water. And then we'll go find the stream and stuff like that and use the life straw, but you can hear it coming right out. So let's do that. Let's grab this stuff. We'll see how effective it is. And then the other trick too, after you're done eating and whatnot, and if you get cold and if it's like nighttime or whatever, you can use this heating element. You can, you know, wrap it in like a scarf or towel or blanket or whatever, and hold it close to you. It'll keep you warm. All right, we'll drip some of this in there. Cool. There is lots of it though, like I said, for miles and miles. And so you're not going to run out of this stuff. We're talking survival here, you know what I'm saying? This isn't like your everyday thing. Like, you're not just going to go out into the woods and just be like, oh, okay, cool, this is what I'm going to use instead. Like, if you have a water source, just use that. Because you can expend a lot of time and energy and effort doing this, squeezing all of this stuff. It's easier to do with two hands. There it goes. Lots of water coming out. I'm getting it all over myself. You really kind of need some manpower to do this though. It's not going to get all over your food and stuff like that because it's in, I mean, there's packaging. Obviously, there's a chemical reaction happening, so you don't want that in your food. So it keeps it safe from that. It'll keep it safe from, you know, the water that's in this moss. Okay. Every last drop of that, there's a decent amount in the bottom there. So that should be enough. I'm gonna close it over, move it around, swish it around a little bit. Ooh, I can already feel it. That's getting hot. Yeah, and see that? I mean, you can get real wet real quick out here. Oh yeah, that's getting real hot. There's definitely lots of water touching each little element there. And you're supposed to post it up on its side like this. And after a while, this becomes way too hot to touch. I mean, you'll feel it. It'll really, I mean, it'll burn you. It will. Oof. And so you're supposed to put it up on its side for, I think they say like 5 to 7 minutes or something like that. But 10 minutes, 20 minutes is what I found. Really, it warms up your food that way. Wow, that's hot. You can hear it sizzling. Listen to this. There, so basically without water, we've now initiated a warm meal. And, or have made ourselves warm if we get cold at night. Ooh, it's hot. Oh. All right, it's been hanging out for like a good 10 minutes. I'm just ready to eat it. We'll take it out of there, we'll wipe it off. I do gotta say, as the sun goes down, things do progressively get creepier and creepier in the woods. If you guys know what I'm talking about, leave a comment. Like, I don't know if you got some weird stories or just some like creepy stuff that's happened to you, or if you just get in that mindset like I do at night where it's just hyper vigilance and it's like you just pray for the morning to come sometimes. But it does. I mean, does that happen to anybody else? I mean, when you're out here, can't find my spoon. Hope they gave me a spoon. I think they left me high and dry. No way. There's no spoon in here. Whatever, I'm just gonna squeeze it out. I'm too hungry to care right now. Oh, that smells good. Looks good, smells good. I don't know if I got a twig here, I might just use this. Take off the bark here and blend 2 cultures. I'm going to use these as chopsticks. That's all I needed. Super fun. All right, let's see what we got. Get some of this chicken out of here. Oh yeah, chicken and tomato. Oh yeah. Man, when you're hungry. This one's actually really good. Oh, so good. So I'm going to eat it like a soup. There was a big chunk of chicken in there too. And I'm not downwind or upwind or any wind at all right now. I gotta say, I'm not disappointed, and I really hope my buddy is doing well. I mean, yeah, he was pretty sick. You know, but I really, you know, it'd been great to share this experience with him. I mean, it's one thing to do it alone. I do it alone a lot. And there's a lot of work to be done. To be honest, you know, I've talked with individuals, let me put it this way, who have this grand idea of what will happen out in the wilderness when you go, and they feel like it's more of like a camping experience where you sit around the fire for hours. I'm telling you, there's a lot of work to be done in a very, very short amount of time. It sneaks up on you. And then before you know it, it's already, you know, the sun's gone down and here comes the rain clouds. Or, you know, something worse, you know, something unexpected. Somebody gets hurt or something, twists an ankle, or something really unexpected happens, you know, and you encounter wild animals or whatever. So it's different. There's a different level of connectivity with another individual when you come out into the woods and sharpen your skills with each other. So that's something you don't get in the city or even the country necessarily. This is a totally different existence out here. All right. You can hear those birds song. Does not sound like a warning signal. So that's encouraging. They might not even know I'm here. Okay, that was good. Wow, that was good. There's a huge cracker. I'm not about that right now. That's for sure. Banana pumpkin puree. I'm going to open that up and just eat that like a wild man. It's only 2:30. And got about 45 minutes, it looks like, until that sun goes over the ridge. All right, here's that puree. And they make it so you can kind of just... What does this say it is? Banana pumpkin puree. This tastes like something I've had before. That is incredibly tasty. The last few I had were kind of gross. Like there was, it was like cheeseburger something or other, and it didn't have like a natural normal patty. And the patty was just kind of fell apart, flaked apart, and kind of had the same consistency of like wet cat food, and smelled like cat food. This one was totally different. This is delicious. Oh, these are like cheese combos with the cheese in the center and the pretzel outside. Love the snacks that come in these. In that Mexican chicken style stew, that was really good. So menu number 15, I gotta remember that. All right, I'm gonna snack on this just a little bit longer. Get my bearings for what's going on here. Then we'll go find that water source and we'll play around in the darkness. That'll be fun. That might be why I get in my head so much when not only when I'm out here solo. You know, I've gone out here with a couple other dudes before, and we've heard some really strange stuff at night. That may be why I get in my head so much, is because I'm out doing abnormal stuff. Like, you know, not only the element of being alone and secluded and it being dark, and, you know, in the woods it gets like pitch black. Because even the moonlight, there's going to be shadows from the trees, and you're not going to be able to see nothing. But I do different things. Like, I don't just sit around the fire and then go to bed. Like I'll get up, and if there's something that needs to be done, like more firewood or whatever, like 2 in the morning, I'm like walking around and making a bunch of noise and stuff, or going and getting some water or whatever. And so the familiar becomes unfamiliar. That's probably why I get in my head. I don't know. Leave in the comments, would you do that, or you just posting up for the night and you're like, done with it? All right, a couple more bites and then we'll go get some water. And this thing, within that amount of time, has lost its heating capability. There are actually many water sources around here, but here's a really good one. To me, this doesn't look like runoff from like a bad source or anything, though. Yeah. Another thing to look for is plants. So like poisonous, toxic type of plants. Because if those get filtered in and through the water, there could be some instance of, you know, toxicity. So anyway, here we go. Let's try this Life Straw thing. Alrighty, so here's this American Red Cross water filter. And this one's cool because it comes with a cap. So you can close this down when you're done with it. And, you know, it doesn't click in there or anything like that. There's still opportunity for things to get in there if, you know, you're not too careful. Like if you drop it into a creek or something like that. But here's what you're supposed to do. So take the cap off. You know, you're supposed to have this in water, sitting in water for like 20 seconds or whatever, probably fresh water. And that's supposed to prime it, I guess. I'm just going to go for it. And then we'll fill up this delicious chocolate hazelnut protein that I got from my MRE. So it's going to be like a nice chocolate drink. Here we go. Okay, moment of truth in this stinky water. I really can't get a good handle on this, so I'm going to try to make this quick. There we go. Now I'm comfortable. It's like doing aerobics or something. It says it filters 99.9%, so I'm just going to trust that. It says to blow through to get all the air bubbles out. Definitely still some air bubbles. It doesn't taste like anything. Like nothing. I just ate that chicken stew, but I don't really have like the palate for it. Like it doesn't, I don't know, if I didn't eat anything, maybe I could really taste it. But last time, if you saw the videos, me and my buddy, we were like, yeah, it tastes like the earth. It tastes earthy. This one doesn't taste like anything. So I guess that's a good sign. All right, time to fill up this protein. And this is the fill line, so we're at least going there with it. Yeah, you already know what I'm doing with this. Filter and then spit it in the bag. I'm just taking the water and putting it in here. Transfer. That's all. I don't see any bugs or nothing in here either. So last time around there were little wormy things and things spinning around in there. This one I don't see nothing. So this may be cleaner water. I don't know. Definitely does not taste like chemicals, and I feel good about this. That did definitely take some effort there, though, boy. I tell you what. I'll just seal this up. Shake it around a little bit. There we go. Nice and sealed. Just head on a swivel all the time. Yeah, it's already 3:30. The sun has effectively gone down over the line, for the tree line. So the sun's behind me. You can't see it glaring in the sky anymore. Like the tree line has covered it. There's still like that ambient light, but bet in the next hour, it's going to be very dark. So got my protein, got my water, got my food. Shelter's all set up, and the elements of my fire are just all but taken care of. So we'll do a little bit more as the nighttime progresses, and we'll have a little fun in the dark, I guess. But for the remainder of this, I'm going to enjoy myself, take a load off, relax, ponder to myself, pray to my God, who is Jesus Christ, by the way. Jesus Christ is King. If you know that to be true, put it in the comment. Jesus Christ is King. You're in good company. All right. I'm going to put my filter away. This thing is... this is actually pretty cool. I rather enjoy this. So far, this has served its purpose, and I love the cap. I love the idea of that cap. Whether or not the cap's actually effective, I still like the idea of it. Cool. Put on my Helicon Tex poncho because it's getting very cold. And I'm no longer doing aerobics trying to get that water. And then we'll settle in a little bit. All right, let's give this drink a shot. I was almost expecting so far for something to happen. Bugs. You know, even with the elements of being prepared, strategizing, having all the right gear, being well fed, good night's sleep the night before, physically and mentally well, that the unexpected does happen, or even the unexplained. This tastes exactly like a brownie. Tastes just like a brownie. If you were to, or chocolate frosting. Tastes like a brownie with chocolate frosting on it. If you could liquefy a brownie, this would be it. This is incredibly delicious. If you put this one in that hot pack too, that would be good warm. But yeah, there was a time, it was my first solo overnight. Very first one. And I think I had a bedroll, a sleeping bag, a foam mat so I wasn't sleeping on the cold ground, and then a tarp. And that was it. And I basically folded over the tarp on myself like a burrito. That entire night, I kept feeling something rubbing against my back. And I did have a firearm, and I had a light on it. You know, kind of almost just like this one. The other one was Smith & Wesson. And this one, you know, that Glock. This one's got the laser and the light. And so every few minutes that I would feel that, like I would almost freeze in terror. Because it wasn't just like a regular, just like a brush up against your back. It was like I could feel it. And so I would turn around, nothing. There wasn't anything there. It was my first overnight. And then, in the morning, I woke up and I still had coals in my fire. And so at that point, I can see everything. I'm not like, you know, really creeped out and freaked out. I mean, it was daytime. I could see everything. And, you know, nothing was going to brush up against my back without a couple of rounds in it. It's just how it was. There were still some coals on my fire, and so I had these big bags. I don't even know what they necessarily were or what they were used for. I remember having a couple of, it was a couple of Ziploc bags. And so those freezer bags, the big ones, and I had a couple of those with me to pack out trash and stuff like that. And so I went down to the water source. It was like definitely a little stream. And I was filling those bags, and I had to hike back up because I hiked up this big hill, and then there was a flat part where I set up camp. And so I'd walk down to the stream. And so when I was walking back up with a full bag of water, and you know, I don't know, it holds maybe a quart or something like that. I walked up and put out the fire with the water. And I needed about 6 of those bags to fully put it out to where I could touch it and it wouldn't be warm to the touch. Because that's how you're supposed to do it, and you're supposed to sift through and make sure that the fire is out. So with one bag, you know, still warm to the touch, there were still some active coals, so I had to go back down. After the first bag, I heard, ooh, 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 ooh. 6 times, in intervals of 6 each time. And then there would be a pause for about, I don't know, like 6 seconds. If you're superstitious and have the number 6 in your head, you know, maybe there's something to that. But I didn't time it. But I definitely heard 6 of them. And then again, ooh, 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 ooh. So it was methodical, and there was intervals of 6, and so I'm like, this thing's intelligent. whatever this is, it's intelligent and it's stalking me. The first thing I thought of was a cougar, but I was like, I don't know if cougars make those noises. And then I could feel it in my chest, deep bass. And so it sounded far away, both far away and not so far away, like inside of me. It was very strange. So now I'm genuinely creeped out again, like freaking out on the inside. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to leave this fire. So I go back down, fill it up, come back up, and it's still happening. And so I go back down and come back up. And again, on the fire. And, you know, it's about ready. It's about ready. I could have booked out of there at that point. But I was like, no, I committed to this. I'm going to put this fire out completely. And in the safest manner possible. So I go back down. And I come back up. And I still hear it. And it was a strange occurrence. I didn't hear it down there. And when I came back up, each time it was there. And it sounded like it was in the distance. And I would pause and listen for it. And then I'm like, is that something hitting something? Like, you know, it almost sounded like a splitting maul, like hitting into wood or something. And then I'm like, why would it be in intervals of 6 like that? Just boom, 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 boom. And so I'm still creeped out, and then I go back down, come back up, until, you know, I get the fire completely out. It's cool to the touch. I'm sifting through it, whatever, playing in the fire. That's completely out. I grab my stuff, and then I listen for it again, and there it is. Ooh, 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 ooh. Deep. And so I'm like, okay, I'm never coming back here again. And consequently, I did, but, so I trek all the way down, and because I'm up, you know, and so it's very precarious, the stuff that I had to climb up, and so on the way down it was even more, you know, and it was very steep. So I'm getting out of there, and then I'm looking behind me the whole time because I don't know if it's coming after me, what it is. I know that it's intelligent, whatever it is. And then, you know, I'm down there. And I don't hear it ever again. And so I'm booking it. And then I make it down and I make it to the pickup spot. And I still had a couple hours before my ride was going to get there. Because I get dropped off in these areas. Like, you know, if I'm going to go out here and do this, I'm going to do it. And so there's no, unless I'm walking home, there's no way I'm getting out of here. Until I come and get picked up. So, come to find out. I know y'all are probably like, that was totally a Bigfoot. And that's what I was thinking at the time, too. But, come to find out, my father-in-law, he specializes in, like, genetics and chickens and, you know, raptors and birds of prey and all of that stuff. And he knows a lot about birds, like a lot about birds, like more than you would ever think possible to fit inside a human brain. He knows all about birds. And he was like, there are grouse. There are grouse in the woods. I was like, what is a grouse? Because at the time I had no idea. Like I said, that was my first overnight. And he's like, yeah, it's probably a scooty grouse. I was like, that's a funny name. And I looked it up, and there's like blue grouse. I can't remember the other one, but yeah, definitely scooty grouse as well. So there's 3 types that are around here, and their mating call, they got these little red things on the sides of their neck, almost like bullfrogs in some ways do. He would probably explain it in a different way, but yeah, they got this weird little thing that comes out of their neck, and it's their mating call. I was researching it, and there's like 3 different types of grouse. Definitely the scooty grouse and the blue grouse. But then there's another one, and I can't think of it. I'll put it right here. And that's the one that does it 6 times. The other one, the one does it 4 times. The other one does it 5 times. And then I saw a video of this one doing it 6 times, and it was exactly the same. And if you watch the video, some people can hear it, some people cannot. It's so deep, and that's why I heard it in my chest. and that's why I heard it from far away. It's so deep that some people can't even hear it. Like, it's outside of their frequency. And so I must have been really keen about it and could really pick up on it, but that freaked me out. And so when I say like the elements of the unexpected or the elements of the unknown, that's what I mean. Like, I didn't know. If I would have known, I would have been like, oh, cool, dinner, or, you know, let me try to find this thing. That's interesting. So, you know, you can never be too prepared, and you can never know fully your environment until you do. This is delicious chocolate hazelnut protein. The other thing that I think was happening, you know, I was telling you, something was rubbing on my back or whatever. It's probably like a newt or a salamander or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I didn't see it when I turned around. Like, I was absolutely certain it was a cougar just rubbing its nose against my back. Absolutely certain at, you know, night when it's pitch black out, and you go to the worst possible scenario. Pitch black, I'm up this hill all by myself. Nobody knows I'm out there. My ride isn't coming till the next day. Like, there was no escape. Like, you just don't walk out of there in pitch black and leave all your stuff and the fire going and all that. You just don't do that. Now, if it was actually a bear or a cougar or something like that, you know, it'd have some holes in it, and then I'd be walking down. But if it was like just, you know, mentally perceived, then no, you don't do that. So I was looking back with the flashlight, and there was nothing there. So I think that was only like a small animal or something. It may have been just like a salamander, or even like some kind of like a mouse or something. I don't know, but that was pretty consistent also. So, but I was in the wilderness, and I'm in, you know, somebody else's home out here. So they were probably just interested in what I was, or trying to keep warm with my body heat. So, point of the story, don't freak out. Don't freak out in the woods. Pretend like you own the place. At least mentally, you'll feel better about it. That was amazing. Here we go, real quick. As the sun's going down, I just found some wild ginger. And it looks a lot like ivy or violets, but when you damage it and cause it some trauma, you can really smell it. It smells so good. Here's where I found it. So this one's still intact. There's a ton of it right here. It's huge. What you can do with that is you can dig up the roots. And you can eat the roots. I would suggest boiling it and changing the water a couple of times. You're not supposed to eat the leaves of this. It's not even technically ginger, like the ginger that you would buy from the store. So, you know, eat at your own risk or caution. Yeah, there is this wild ginger all over the place. I have to take note of that. Another thing I saw, oxalis. So this also has a very citrusy taste. I think it kind of tastes like green apple skin, kind of way past its expiration date. Oxalis or wood sorrel. At this point, I'm just walking around, hanging out. There's like helicopters and planes going overhead. I did find this big kind of river. I'm not sure what river this is. It's more of a big stream, I guess, and less of a big river. But I just wanted to say these videos take a lot of time, effort, time away from my family. I really do enjoy and love this. That's why I do this. That's why I continue to make these videos. It's not really for anybody else but myself. And then if everybody else enjoys it, then that's a bonus. But where I'm getting at with that is, if at all, if anything, you know, hit that like button. And if you enjoy the content, hit the subscribe button and see me on the next one. And collaborate and give me your insight in the comments. Like, I'm never like put off by, you know, somebody's comment, even if it's super negative or whatever. But I'm always drawn to those comments where, you know, it's kind of like trying to collaborate with me and like shed light on certain things and give me information. And like, you know, I can impart some of that to y'all as well when it comes to firearms, wilderness, survival, and, you know, foraging. But that would help me out a lot. And then I can keep making videos like this. So thanks for the love and support. Yeah, so 1542 military time, 342, and the sun has just about had enough. I think it's tapping out here pretty soon. So there are actually a lot of fun trails around here. I've left camp in the camp area, and I'm just gonna walk around and have a little bit of fun. I just wanted to point out, and it may sound silly to some, but when you are out here by yourself, really connecting with the elements and making them work for you and work with you, and when you notice certain things like this Clatonia siberica, this candy flower leaf, it adds an element of comfort, really kind of in a hippy-dippy way. When you're out here identifying plants, you're really kind of identifying friends. And check out this mushroom. Look at this guy. It's big, and they're all over the place. It is fruiting everywhere around here at this time. Something real quick that I've been pondering just briefly. Look at how tall those trees are. Those are about 100 feet tall, give or take. And look at how thin those trunks are. Look at this guy. So from where I'm standing, this is about 6.5, 7 feet across. If I was laying down, it would be taller or more wide than me, I should say. Yeah, it goes from right there is the base all the way to right there. So when you look at it, that compared to that one's about 1.5 feet, 2 feet across, 100 foot tall. 2, 4, 6, 8, 4 times as high, maybe. Probably not 400 feet tall, but at least 150, 200 feet. That thing's rotting away. I wonder how old that was when it came down. Makes you think. Makes you wonder, makes you ponder. There's actually a tree growing out of the top of it. Look at that. Like the size of those sequoias in San Joaquin, them sequoias get real tall. And it was recorded, I think it was 1950. There was one easily 250 feet tall and like 14 feet wide. And the branches on those things were marvelously big. All right, so it's 4:53, and the sunset is in 6 minutes. So the darkness did not come upon me as suddenly as I expected it to. So really, I think that ambient light with the lack of cloud cover has given a little bit more daylight to our adventure, which I am very thankful for, but let's see how long that lasts after sunset. So I'm heading back towards camp. I may or may not establish a fire tonight, it just depends. I am pretty heated up from just walking around, but I know that'll change dramatically, and it does overnight. Okay, so it's about 20 after sunset, and it got dramatically dark. And this is what I thought would happen earlier, but here we are. So it's dark. It's not pitch black yet, but it's pretty dark. So I really think we did all that we set out to do. If anything crazy happens, we'll get that on video. But for now, do what's right and stay safe for glory, honor, and immortality. Oh yeah, can't forget this. Check this guy out. So this thing, oh, you can't see that. Here we go. So this thing shines like the midday sun. Look at this thing. And you can move it down, like really down. I mean, you can see what's in your lap and all kinds of stuff. So this thing is super, super cool. So here's what I'm looking at right now. And it ain't much. It's really as black as darkness out here. Very, very dark. Can't hear nothing. There's really nothing. I mean, you can definitely hear the stream in the background, but nothing's really going on. Just dark. Some ambient light up above. Yeah, not much else.